Here we are. This is Serge Bogosian. I'm the hockey guru with my Eastern Conference playoff prediction. So it's a very exciting time, and I'm back doing these regular videos, and we're gonna get right into it here. It's been a heck of a year in the NHL. We've had one of the best regular seasons ever put up by a team, by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they won the President's Trophy going away, 62 wins, 128 points. Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, like this is a team that's stacked. However, we've seen this before. A team like this, Detroit Red Wings, did not win the Cup that year. They won 62 games. A lot of the President's Trophies don't win the Cup. So spoiler alert, Tampa's not going to win the Cup this year. However, let's break down how I see all the series going. All right, so let's start off with Tampa Bay and Columbus. Now, everyone thinks that Tampa Bay is going to run over Columbus. Columbus has been one of the hottest teams. They did clinch a playoff spot in the last couple of days of the season. However, they made some huge moves going in. And it took a while to get these players into the lineup and going as a team. Matt Duchene, Dzingel, McQuaid. They put a team together that they want to go all in, and they go all for it. Got some great players on the team in Panarin, Dubois. Bobrovsky's been the hottest goalie in the NHL in the past few weeks. So my prediction is Tampa in 6, all right? However, I would not be surprised if Columbus pulled off the upset. It's not going to be Tampa just running over this team. If anyone can upset this, and I guarantee you, Tampa did not want to face Columbus. Tampa would have rather faced Carolina. Tampa would have rather faced Montreal. It's not a good matchup for Tampa Bay. They're going to be coached, I believe, in this series. Tortorella is an amazing coach, one of the best coaches in the history of the NHL. People don't like him. He pisses a lot of people off. However, I think Columbus will be in this series. However, Tampa's just too strong. All the amazing things that they've done this year with all their amazing players. Tampa will win this, but it won't be that easy. They will win it in 6 games. The next series, my series, the team that I live and die for, the Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, so what's going to happen with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins? They faced off last year, as you guys know, and Boston won in 7 games. After the Leafs were down 3-1, they came back to tie it. And people forget this. In the third period, in the first few minutes of the third period, the Leafs of Game 7, the Leafs were leading. We go back to 2013, the worst day as a Toronto Maple Leaf fan in my lifetime. Game 7 in 2013, we're up 4-1 with about 10 minutes to go. We lose the game in overtime. The Demons in Boston are going to be exercised. Why? So last year, this is a different Toronto Maple Leaf team. It's another year of Marner and Matthews maturing, and it's a year where we added a guy that almost scored 50 goals, 47 goals for us this year, John Tavares. An amazing player, an amazing talent, a playoff warrior. It's going to be the difference maker. The goaltending. People have been talking about how Anderson has slumped. And the defense, first of all, the Toronto Maple Leafs have not played a significant game probably in the last 2 months. They've known pretty much what's going to be happening the last 2 months, so they have not had a great record. They've had serious injuries to the back line. Dermott's missed a ton of action. Gardner's missed a ton of action. Muzzin. All these guys are going to be back. The Toronto defensive core is better than they were last year. If Freddie Anderson plays Freddie Anderson, this is not going to be a very long series. However, Boston's a great team. Boston is stacked up front with their top line of Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak. The Leafs, however, go 3 lines deep. I believe that's the advantage the Leafs will have. They're much faster. They are a much more explosive offensive team. And if Freddie Anderson just has a Freddie Anderson-like series, this series will be over quicker than you'll think. It's time the Leafs take Boston, and if they're going to take Boston, they're going to take Boston in 6. So we got Toronto in 6 games. Washington and Carolina, the defending Stanley Cup champions, against a bunch of losers. Sorry, a bunch of jerks. Now, that's not something I made up. They call themselves that after they've gotten, some negative press by some old hockey boys like Don Cherry and Brian Burke. A lot of people like what they did, their celebrations after. I wasn't a big fan of it. But Carolina made the playoffs. They got a good fan base. But they just don't have the power, especially the goaltending, to match the Washington Capitals. The Washington Capitals have been here. The Washington Capitals are defending champions. They had a decent year, first place in the Eastern Metropolitan Conference. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. Just cruised into the playoffs. Ovechkin scored 50 goals again. They know what it takes to win the Stanley Cup. They've been through this last year. This is not going to be a very long series. Washington's going to take it in 5 games. So there you go. We have Washington in 5, Toronto in 6, and Tampa Bay in 6. In the last series, now this is going to be a good one. The New York Islanders, no one expected the New York Islanders to do well this year. They got Lou Lamoriello and Barry Trotz to go there. Barry Trotz, the Stanley Cup champion coach, Barry Trotz, ended up in the Islanders. There was a huge thing where they lost their franchise player, John Tavares, to Toronto. If they didn't make the playoffs, no one would have, batted an eye. But they end up with 103 points, a very good year. And they're facing the Pittsburgh Penguins, who, ended up with 100 points. But it wasn't like a Pittsburgh Penguin of old type of year. But the thing with the Pittsburgh Penguins you need to realize is they are, like the Capitals, a playoff team. They've been there. They've won cups. A huge core of this team has won a couple of cups. Some of them even won 3. But, when you got guys like Malkin and Crosby and Kessel and Gensel and Hornquist, and then the goaltending, Matt Murray, he's been there. They've all been through this. The New York Islanders are a younger team. They don't have as much of the experience, but I think they maybe have a little bit better talent overall. But this is going to be a good series. It's going to be back and forth. They're going to go, I believe, they're going to go 7 games, and the New York Islanders are going to lose to the experience of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, there you have it. The first round. The first round predictions. Serge Bogosian, the hockey guru of the Eastern Conference. And we have Tampa Bay will beat Columbus. Tampa Bay will beat Columbus in 6 games. Boston will lose to Toronto in 6 games. Carolina will lose to Washington. Washington will win that in 5. The Islanders will beat Pittsburgh will beat the Islanders in 7. Now, I'm going to make a separate video for the Western Conference. So look at the next video, or just look for it. It'll be coming after this one. So what you need to do is take note of this, that I will repeat again, and not a lot of people are picking this. The Washington Capitals will win the Stanley Cup. There you go. The Washington Capitals will win back-to-back Stanley Cups. There you have it. Serge Bogosian's Eastern Conference predictions. First round, Tampa, Toronto, Washington, and Pittsburgh, and the long-term prediction of Washington winning the Cup. We'll be back with the Western Conference video.